Good good afternoon. It's Thursday, September 30th, and this is the Blackman Who Reads Aloud, continuing my journey through the Federal Writers Project of 1936 through 1938 for my blog, joesmokethoughts.com. This will be posted either on YouTube. It will also be posted on my blog, www.joesmokethoughts.com. And today we are visiting in Alabama with the Alabama Slave Narratives, Theodore Fountain Stewart. This interview was taken by Gertha Cork in Euphulia, Alabama. Us gonna walk down them gold streets. The years are mighty long without Lottie. Massa, she done gone on to the promise, but I know she's with Jesus, and us gonna walk down them golden streets together holding hands. Uncle Theodore Fountain Stewart lives alone in a weather-beaten one-room Euphulia shanty. It is clean and surrounded by flowers. In the rear is a small garden, and there you will find Uncle Stewart when the dawn is fresh or the dusk is cooling, approaching. Lottie been gone away night on to 22 years now, massa. Her was a good woman, one of the best the Lord ever sent to the earth. He paused to think when the interviewer asked his age. It's hard for me to tell about that, he says, but I knows I's well past 90 mark. I guess I gone on 100. Crazy, I was born before the war and was a right pert boy at the surrender. What about slavery times, Uncle Stewart? Theodore Fountain Stewart paused for just a moment. His black fingers gently caressing the buttons on his rust-colored old vest. I remembers all about them times, he said, and the Lord know they was better times than we got now for white or black. Nobody was hungry then, massa, and people didn't get in devilment that they gets in now. Folks went to church and haved themselves in those days. Who was my old massa? He looked at the interviewer for a moment and answered proudly, "Why, he was the richest man in Georgia. I knows you heard of Mars Theodore Fountain. He had 3 big plantations and more niggers than he could count. He moves close to Florence, and his 3 places were so big you couldn't see across the litter's field. Old Martha, he lived in a big house, bigger than any meeting house in Euphulia. He had a gang of fine horses, and when company was there, he had horse races on his own track. His horses could beat all the horses bought there, and that's the direct tooth." Uncle Stewart filled the blackened old corncob pipe with tobacco and continued. "Old master, he didn't go to the war. He's too old to go, so he stayed home and made corn and fodder and oats and sent them to the soldiers was killing Yankees. One day the Yankees come along and burnt everything up on the place except us, the nigger cabins. They took all the horses and everything us had to eat. Old master went off somewhere when they come, I don't remember where, and when they come back, he had to live in one of them nigger cabins till he could build a house. But the new one wasn't big like the old one. My pappy was a field hand. 'Twas one time old massa put him on a horse to ride in a race, and pappy beat the other horses so far, old massa was tickled pink. He said a nigger what could ride like that had no business in the field, so he made my pappy a stable boy. When old master didn't have old missus, he say he's so big all the little ladies look funny side of him. What company was there his sisters, Mr. Mary and Mrs. Lucy come to and kept house, but they left when the company did. My pappy was named Ed Stewart. Crazed old master buy him from a Stewart, and after the war called pappy's children Stewart, but us is Fontaines by right. Bet your life on that. Old master was good to the niggas, but his overseers was mean. Old masters fired them after a while and got some good overseers. He didn't allow them to whip a nigger except when he say, and he didn't say so much. My mammy was named Sarah, and her pappy stayed right with old master when the surrender come. They was right in the room when old master died, and they cried something awful. Us all stayed there till pappy and mammy died. Then us children split up and went everywhere. Mammy and pappy had 10 heads of children besides me, but I don't know where they at now. Mammy raised all her children right as long as I know them. None of them ever got in a jailhouse. Mammy didn't allow her children to steal. Her was old master's house cook, and when she caught any of us taking things from the kitchen, she sure did tan us hides with a brush. Me and Carlotta, us cause a Lotta was married in the old Mount Maria Church where all the niggas went to meeting every Sunday. Us had 4 children, 2 gals and 2 boys, but they all dead now except the last boy, and I ain't heard from him since his mammy died. Yes, master, hers was a good woman. And it won't be long now before we be walking in them golden places hand in hand. And that is the recollections of Thomas Fontaine Stewart. The thing when I read these, I think back to what Malcolm X said about house niggas and our house blacks, and I don't like to use the word niggas. Well, Malcolm did. House niggas, field niggas, and the field niggas were the ones who were, they were the agitators, and the house niggas was protecting the massa. And when I read that part about all of the house niggas standing around the old master as he was dying and crying, old master dead. It's almost like we died. That's not true. And when you think about it, why did Thomas Fontaine, over 100 years old, feel like he had to call his interviewer, Goethe Corey, Massa? Because slavery was ingrained in his mind. Reparations, please. Have a great day, and be talking to you tomorrow.